Hello everyone. Today in this class of lecture Sexual Reproduction in Angiosperms part 2, we will begin we will further continue actually. In the last lecture we spoke about that what is a flower, okay, and that's where we stopped last lecture. We actually spoke about reproduction types, what is angiosperms, what is flower, parts of the flower. We are done with that. Today we will we are going to start with reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, this is part 2 lecture and we are going to start with reproduction in flowering plants. So how we will go with this chapter? Like, there are three parts. We study reproduction in flowering plants in three parts. Okay, the very first part which we study is known as pre-fertilization events. Pre-fertilization events. And the second part which we study is known as fertilization event. Fertilization event. And speaking about the third part, we study as post fertilization. Okay, so there are three parts which we will study in this chapter. Okay, the first part is known as pre fertilization events, then you have fertilization events, then you have post fertilization events. Okay, so this way we are going to move with the chapter. Yes, so let's begin. Now, what actually you study in pre-fertilization event? Speaking about the pre-fertilization event, we study in pre-fertilization event, very first thing which we study, that is known as formation of gametes. Yes, dear friends, just tell me, dear students, that when we have a topic known as fertilization, I taught that fertilization is nothing but fusion of gametes. What is fertilization? Fertilization is fusion of gametes. If you have to undergo fertilization, means if two gametes are there and they need to go fertilize, undergo fertilization, but first you need the production of the gametes. If there is no gamete, then there will be no fusion, there will be no fertilization. So there is a requirement of gametes. So here gametes is playing a crucial role. We have studied genetics, we have seen the role of gametes in inheritance. So gametes are very, very, very important. Okay, so there are two gametes. We know we need two gametes for the fusion. One is female gamete, right, and the male gamete. Okay, female gamete is known as egg and male gamete is known as sperm. Both the gametes are haploid, correct? You know this much. Both the gametes are haploid. Okay, all gametes are haploid. Fertilization, fusion of gametes, this occurs in sexual reproduction. Okay, sexual reproduction, it is also known as amphimixis. Sexual reproduction is also known as amphimixis. This is revision of the previous class which I am saying. This was already taught. Things which I have start can be MCQ question. Okay? Things which I have start, those words can be MCQ questions. So here when I say that there is a formation of gametes, so you need gametes for fertilization. So this is pre-fertilization. Okay? So what all gametes will be formed now in case of plants? We say female gamete as megaspore, or we say it as egg in case of plant. In case of means female. In case of male, we say it as microspore. Microspore pollen, or we can say pollen, and this pollen will have male gametes. It will produce it. Okay, so this is what you should know, that megaspore egg, megaspore pollen, and what is male gamete. Yes. Then what you will study in this second part, you will study about pollination. Okay, I will come to the words in detail when I will teach. And the third part which you will study is known as pollen pistil interaction. Okay, then in fertilization event you will study about double fertilization, which is, you will write it as syngamy, and the second one is pen, means it is known as triple fusion. Okay, pen is primary endosperm nucleus. We will come to these. Just I'm giving you a a glance or short summary that what all we are going to study. Then further you will have, then in the post fertilization you will have development of embryo, we can say development of zygote to embryo. Okay, then second we will say formation of embryo, formation of endosperm. Okay, and then how seed is formed, seed and fruit. We will study about this seed and fruit, like how seed and fruits are formed and in detail about it. So first we will begin with the very first topic, that is pre-fertilization events. So let's begin from here. Okay, let's come to the very first topic, and we will speak about female and male. Okay, we will speak about these two organisms now, like these two things. So first we will speak about male. Okay, we will speak about male. Okay, what we will speak about, we will speak about the male. So let's begin. So how male gamete is formed and where it is formed? The question is how it is formed and where it is formed. So male reproductive part we will study today. So when I was teaching you in the previous class, I pointed one part of like male reproductive part, that is known as androecium. Androecium is a male reproductive part. Okay, and if I draw the diagram of androecium, one unit, a single unit of androecium is known as stamen. This is what I had taught in the previous class. Okay, single unit If I say single unit, then it is known as stamen. Okay, now if you can see the diagram, can you see that this part, it is known as anther. Okay, and can you see this part? I will highlight it with red. This part which I have shown with red, this part is known as neck. What it is known as? It is known as neck. Neck is the neck which we also have, right? Same way here it is having a neck. Then you can see the further highlighting part which I am showing with yellow color. This highlighted part which I have shown, this is known as filament. What it is known as? Filament. Filament is also known as stalk. Okay, filament is also known as stalk. And there is one more part. Okay, there is one more part here. If you can see that two anther two anther are attached together, they are linked together with the help of a part known as, that part is known as connective. Okay, means connective is joining two anthers. See, there are, if I will say, see, this is one anther. This, if you can see, this is one anther, and this is second anther. So there are how many lobes? There are two lobes in anther. So this is two-lobed anther. It is known as dithecus. Okay, it is known as dithecus anther. Okay, dithecus anther. This dithecus anther is the place where, the pollens will form. So the functions, okay, I will come and write the function. The function of anther is what? Is to produce pollen grains. Pollen is to produce pollens and release them. And release them. This is the function of what? This is the function of anther. Okay, understood? This is a function of anther. Now the second part, if you can see, there is connective. Okay, the first part is anther. Speaking about the second part, connective is also having function. If I draw two anthers, see, this is the one anther. Okay, and here in between you have connective, and again you have the second anther. So these two anthers, okay, these two anthers, like we can say the lobes of anthers, lobes, it is connected by this connective. Okay, so there is a connective which is sticking these two. Okay, actually connective is acting as like a connective is acting as favicol. Okay, it is acting as a fixative, means you can see it is acting as like a favicol, like glue. Okay, like glue, it is sticking, it is helping the lobes of anthers to stick. So the role of connective is to attach lobes of anthers, lobes of anthers. Okay, this is the role of connective. Next, if you will see, the next part is the neck. So neck is like, there is no specific role of neck. It is just attaching the anthers to the filament. Okay, so this is the third part. and the fourth part is known as filament. So the role of filament is versatile. Versatile means what? Filament is versatile means that filament is the part of the um, stamen which moves here and there. It floats here and there, means here and there it will move. If there will be movement, like if this is the filament, okay, see, if this is a filament, so what will happen? This filament will move here, it will move there. Yes, it will move here and there. So the filament is what? Versatile. How is the filament? Filament is versatile. Versatile means it can move. It can move, right? It can move here or there. Can you see that it has moved here? It is moving there. So filament is versatile, and because of this movement, what will happen? There will be dispersal of dispersal of pollen grains. There will be dispersal of pollen grains. Okay, so this is the function of filament. Yes, this is the fourth part of your stamen. So I told that just one unit is known as stamen. We are speaking about androecium. That is the male reproductive part of a plant. Okay, if I draw the anther lobes, so these anther lobes, if we speak about it, so the anther lobes is having, like, a single lobe is having four four sacs. What it is having? It is having four sacs, four parts, four sacs it is having. And these four sacs, like it is having four sacs. If you can see that, these four sacs are known as pollen sacs. What is this known as? Pollen sac. Okay, see, it is having two lobes. Can you see this? It is having two lobes, one this and the second this. Inside these two lobes, it is having, further it is having, so since it is having two lobes, so I will write it here as this is bilobed. And each lobe, if you can see this, each lobe has two parts. Okay, here there are two and here there is two. So this orange color structure is known as pollen sac. And there are how many pollen sac total? There are four pollen sacs. This pollen sac has a name. We say, since it is four, so we say it as tetra. And the name pollen sac, we say it as tetrasporangiate. What we say? Tetrasporangiate means this is a place where pollen sacs will be, like, pollens will be produced. What is this place? This is a place where pollen grains are produced. Pollen grains. Okay, we will speak about this in detail, about this anther. I will teach you the sections. Okay, so this is about the basic what we had studied till now. Okay, we had studied very basic part. So let's come, like suppose now if I draw another anther, so I hope till here you are understanding what we are learning. We are learning the topic which is formation of gametes now. So we have to form how many gametes? We have to form two gametes, male and female. So we are studying this part. We had just started the chapter last time with the part 1. Now we are with the part 2 lecture. So you can see here we have started with this part. I'm just showing you and then I will move forward. Okay, I hope this much is clear. It's better, like I hope this much is like understood, like little bit it's understood to you people. Okay, so I will move forward. Yes, I will move forward. So if I come with the next part, see if I take that this is a, if I say this is a anther, okay, and if suppose I take a section of the anther, okay, if I take section, so this is a TS which I have taken, transverse section. So how a transverse section would be? Okay, so a transverse section would be like somewhat a butterfly shaped structure roughly. Okay, let us draw it. Okay, it will be roughly butterfly shaped structure. How it will be? It will be roughly butterfly shaped structure. So I am drawing. You also draw like with me. Okay. So this is what we are studying about TS of anther. What are we studying? We are studying TS of anther, and in TS of anther if you can see that, like how, like by what things this anther is formed. Okay, let's come here first, like how this anther is formed. See, there is a type of cell. Okay, there is a tissue which we say it as parenchymatous tissue. So there is a parenchymatous tissue. Okay, and out of that we can say that there are archisporial cells. Which type of cells are there? There are archisporial cells. So archisporial cells are the cells which are forming, the, like means by division, cell division and all. Let us say there is a cell division, and by the cell division it will multiply, it will go on multiplying itself, and it forms two things. See, it forms two things. It forms sporogenous cells. Okay, sporogenous cells. This is the first thing. And the second thing which it forms is known as outer parietal cell. Okay, outer primary parietal cells. Okay, these two things are formed. Now what this spora, like the first thing which I have written here, the first one which is sporogenous tissue. So sporogenous cells will obviously become a sporogenous tissue. I hope you know the meaning of tissue. So these cells will actually form what? this will form microspores. What it will form? Microspores. Now you see this, I will tell you one thing, that the word microspore, wherever we say microspore, so microspore is the word equivalent, okay, it is similar to, it is similar to pollen. Okay, so whenever we use micros, okay, I will write it here, I will list all the words here. So microspore is nothing but pollen. So here if I am writing microspores means this is pollen. If I write, so this is formed by, means sporogenous tissue, sporogenous cells forms what? It forms pollens. Okay, if I write about outer parietal cell, or it is primary parietal cell we can write. So this primary parietal cells, it forms anther walls. What it forms? Anther wall. And in this anther walls there are many layers. Okay, layer number 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is forming anther walls. Forms anther walls. This. So this you should know, that archisporial cells. Okay, this is the main thing you should know. Next, if I want to say, then see, all are not formed from archisporial cells. Okay, the there are actually, first I will write the wall layers, means anther wall layers. Okay, let's come to the figure. If I just want to draw this, like how the anther wall layers look like in actual, so I will show you. So there is the outer layer, and there is one more layer which I am drawing right now. This is the second layer. Then you have the third layer, and then you have the fourth part. See what I am drawing, it's for all the chambers. Like see, there are four. This will be one chamber, this will be second chamber, third chamber, and fourth chamber. So there will be four chambers. So this is everywhere. I am just speaking about this part, but it is also there here, it is also there here and here. Everywhere it is present. Okay, so let's speak about it. So the wall which I have shown you with the black, this wall is nothing but known as epidermis. This is the outermost layer. What is this? This is a outermost layer. Okay, then secondly you have second layer. Okay, you have a second layer which is known as endothecium. Endothecium. Okay, endothecium, it is the second layer. Okay, it is below epidermis, and it is a second layer of anther wall. Okay, you will speak about the functions now, just I am naming the walls layer. Then you have the third layer known as middle layer. Okay, middle layer is the layer which is present below endothecium, and it is the third layer. Okay, this is third layer. Then you have the fourth layer known as, I will erase this four. This layer is known as tapetum. What it is known as? It is known as tapetum. and this tapetum has some cells. What it is having? It is having the cells. Can you see the way I am drawing? These cells are known as sporogenous cells. What are these cells known as? These cells are known as sporogenous cells. If you remember, I have pointed here. See, I am right drawing this. Can you see these what we had drawn there? This is the sporogenous cells which will form what? Which will form pollen grains. Okay. So this is about the TS. But we have to speak anther walls in detail. I hope till here it is understood. Okay, let's move forward and understand more about the layers. Okay, what are the function of the layers, what it will do and all, everything we have to understand in this class. Yes, let's begin. Like how means how means what is the role of the layers, what will these layers do ultimately, means they will have some work, right? It will have some work, some role. So let's study the function of the function of these four layers in detail. Okay, let's begin with the very first layer. The first layer is epidermis. If you see the figure, epidermis is the very first layer which we are going to study now. So what is the role of this epidermis? If you can see here, the epidermis is the outermost layer. Outermost layer it is. So if something is in the outside, outermost layer, so surely it will have the function of what will it will have the function of protection. Hmm? It will have the function of protection, to protect the anther. Okay, and this epidermis, it is not formed from archisporial cells. It is formed from, okay, I will write it here. It is formed from non-archisporial cells. Non-archisporial cells. This is very important thing. It is formed from non-archisporial cells. Okay, and like if this is the anther, okay, so the anther needs to burst, right? It needs to burst. If this anther will burst, suppose it's bursting here, then only pollen grains will come out. Okay, then only what will happen? Pollen grains will come out. So this anther walls, so walls need to be bursted, right? This bursting of walls, it is known as dehiscence. What it is known as? It is known as dehiscence. So like whenever there will be a requirement, like means the walls need to be broken up. Okay, it needs to be tear, burst, then there will be a, a bursting of walls, and in this bursting, epidermis will help in the process. Like this process of bursting is known as bursting of anther walls is known as dehiscence. Okay, what it is known as? Dehiscence. So it will participate in dehiscence. Okay, next part, the second layer which we will study, if you will see, that is known as endothecium. Okay, that is endothecium. So let's study about endothecium. So endothecium, so this endothecium, it will also help in, it will also help in, it is also having the function of protection, means it will protect the anther. Second, it will also participate in dehiscence. I told dehiscence means bursting of the anther to release the pollen grains. So for the release, like if there is a need to release pollen, so there is need that anther walls should burst. So this is the thing which is known as dehiscence. Okay, this is known as dehiscence. So endothecium and epidermis both are actually, everybody, all the walls have to perform, like all the outer walls, see, if these all walls, see, if you can see, these three all walls will break, even tapetum, then only the pollens, can you see the diagram here, this will go out. So there is a requirement that these walls should break. Okay, if these walls will break, then only the pollens which are formed in this sporangium, okay, one, okay, this is also known as sporangium. Sporangium is a one sac. Okay, one sac is known as sporangium. I told that this is tetrasporangiate structure, so one sac is known as sporangium, and we have total of four sacs in this ts of anther. Okay, so let's move with the next forward information. We will move forward. So this was still here. It was like about the basic of endothecium and epithecium. Oh, sorry, epidermis. And third is middle layer. So middle layer will also perform two functions. Okay, middle layer will also perform two functions and one additional function also. See, middle layers, this layer can be two or one, it depends. So the function which it will do, it will also help in protection and dehiscence. Protection plus dehiscence, here also this will happen. Besides this, the important function of its endothecium, okay, so the function of middle layers is also to produce food. It will produce food. Why it will produce food? For getting energy. Okay, and this food is produced by the process known as photosynthesis. So it will undergo the process known as photosynthesis, and it will produce food for the for energy. See, if there is a production of male gametes, pollens and all, these things require energy. Okay, and this is important, very important. Energy is important, you need energy for doing any task. Then further, there is the fourth layer, that is tapetum. So this tapetum will help in what? This tapetum will help in, you know, it is a transporter of food. The food which is produced by, this is a transporter of food. So the food which is produced by the middle layers, okay, this middle layer will produce food. So if you can see the figure, here is the third layer and fourth layer is here, okay. So first middle layer will form the food, okay, and then tapetum will help in passage of food, it will help in transportation of food, okay. And tapetum is nothing but it is known as, like it is known, like very importantly it is known for one thing, okay. It actually produces, what it will produce, it will produce the very important chemical, like the, it will firstly it will have ubish body, okay. So this ubish body produces a chemical, like it will get fused with the pollen, okay. See the if we speak about, if suppose this is a tapetum, okay, this tapetum will have what, it will have bodies. These bodies are known as pro-ubish bodies, okay. And these pro-ubish bodies will come outside of tapetum, okay. We are speaking about tapetum, it will come outside the tapetum and then it is known as ubish bodies. So this ubish bodies it goes to pollen and it gets fused with pollen, okay. It gets fused with pollen. Suppose uh, this is pollen, what is this, this is pollen grain, and on top there is a fusion of the ubish body, like ubish body will form a layer upon it, and the layer which is formed by ubish body, this layer is known as sporopollenin, okay. It is known as sporopollenin, yes. So this is sporopollenin, and sporopollenin is the chemical which is present in the outer layer of pollen, outer layer, it will form outer layer of pollen, okay. So I hope till here the class is understood, yes. And this is all about the anther, okay. Just we have spoken the parts, like the layers of anther. And if you see that there is further, if you see here, there are sporogenous cells. So the function of sporogenous cells is to produce pollen grains, okay. It will produce pollens, pollen grain, or you can say pollen. So the sporogenous cells function is to produce pollen, okay. This was the fifth thing which you should know in this diagram. That's it. Nothing much you should know about it. This is the basic which you should know at least. And in the next class, we will start with that what is the, like we will start with about, what is pollen, how it looks, okay. We will start about what is pollen and how it looks. We wrote the last thing as the pollen. In the next lecture we will speak about the pollen, like we will do the study of pollen in detail, study of pollen, we will do study of pollen, okay. We will do the study of pollen and we will move that towards how the pollen production occurs. We will study about the pollen and its production, and its production, okay. So in the next class. Now if you want to, like, if I want to add two more words, see, the study of pollen is nothing but, this branch is known as palynology. Palynology is the study of pollens. The production of pollens is known as microsporogenesis. This is a process. Microspore, I had told that this is pollen. Micro means what? The word micro means small. And spores, 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 small granular structures known as spores. Genesis means what? Genesis means to form, or we can say to produce, is known as genesis. Now, what is the site of production? Site of production. If somebody asks you what is the site of production? So site of production is known as sporangium. If I had told that the sporogenous cells will produce, and this one is known as sporangium. We say it as microsporangium, which will produce microspores. Microsporangium, which is nothing but pollen sac. What is this? This is nothing but, microsporangium is known as pollen sac. Okay, this is known as pollen sac. And this is a site. Okay, this is a site of production of pollens. So the site is microsporangium, which is nothing but known as pollen sac. Okay, so these are the three main points which we will tackle in the next lecture. First is paleontology, means we will study the pollen in detail. We will study about the microsporogenesis, and we will study about the site of production, means we will see about the pollen sac, microsporangium. Okay, so for this class I think we took it enough. We will meet in another class for further discussion. So I hope that today's lecture was understandable, and we will further continue in this part, like we will continue these things further. But for now, you should revise everything what all is taught to you. Keep studying. Okay. Thank you for watching this class.